House Armed Services Committee hearing earlier this week revealed how the toxic ideology of critical race theory is being pushed from the very top ranks. Now, last night we showed you that exchange between Congressman Jim Banks and the U.S. Navy's highest-ranking officer. I'm talking about Admiral Michael Gilday, about the race hustler Ibram Kendi's book that's being used to, it looks like, indoctrinate our armed forces. Here's more.
Admiral, did you read the book?
I did.
Okay. In college, Kendi stated that white people are a different breed of humans and are responsible for the AIDS virus. Yes or no, do you personally consider the conspiracy that white people started AIDS to be an extremist belief?
Sir, I'd have to understand the context.
That is a simple question.
Made. I'm not gonna.
Admiral, this is a book that you recommended every sailor in the United States Navy read.
Cherry-picked quotes from somebody's book. I'm not going to do that.
Somebody's book? That book's on the list of recommended reading for the Navy, for the recruits. Here now, the man you just saw, Indiana Congressman, former Naval Reserve Officer Jim Banks. Congressman, I think of all the exchanges I saw outside of the nonsense that was happening with the Putin summit, this was the most significant of the week. How shocked were you that Admiral Gilday was so arrogant and dismissive and actually defending this?
It's still hard for me to believe, Laura. I mean, as someone who wore the uniform, who raised my right hand and served in the United States Navy, to now know that the highest-ranking admiral in the entire Navy would push out a book and tell sailors to read it that teaches our sailors that America is evil and racist, that the United States Navy is racist, is extremely baffling to me. The fact that he couldn't defend it, I asked him later in the exchange, what part of this book is so redeeming that would put it on your list of books that you would recommend to sailors to read? Not only was he unable to answer it, he refused to answer that question.
First of all, he said he read the book. Do you actually believe he read the book? I mean, Congressman,
no,
come on. Of course he didn't read the book.
I said that. If he would have read it, he wouldn't have put it on his list. I got to tell you, I like to read, Laura. I read a lot of books, and this is a reading list that has been in my inbox for nearly a decade. And I often read books from the reading list of the highest-ranking admiral, the CNO. Those books are often about character, about leadership, about naval history, about geopolitical issues. This is the first time I've ever seen a book like this that politicizes the list, that tells sailors that America is evil. And if you want to go out and recruit the next generation of young men and women to become leaders and serve our country, raise their right hand and take an oath and know that they might potentially die for our country, I don't know how you recruit them if you tell them that America isn't worth fighting for.
Why are people going to fight for a country that's inherently evil and racist? It's a simple question.
He couldn't answer it.
Now, Obama's former defense secretary, by the way, he says that all these concerns that you're raising is just kind of kooky.
They have fallen prey to the crazies who are out there spreading lies about our government, about our country. President Trump's whole 4 years in office was about that. Lloyd Austin's got an issue over at DOD as he is dealing with this issue, extremism. Every institution in our country is dealing with this issue. Congressman,
your response to Hagel.
Well, the Navy, the entire military just had something they called a stand down, where they stopped doing everything else they were doing, important things like serving and defending our country, and focused on ridding extremism from the ranks. So think about that for a moment, when at the same time the highest ranking admiral is telling every sailor to read a book that preaches extremism and racism and tells them that America is evil. It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense. The only thing I can tell is that this comes from the very top, from the commander-in-chief, from the Biden administration is hell-bent on pushing critical race theory, not just in our schools, not just in all of our institutions, but maybe most dangerously in our United States military.
My question to Senator Cotton the other day was, why are we funding this? Like, Republicans are essential, Republican votes, to keep increases in military spending going. The way to get Mr. Arrogant to pay attention is for Republicans to say, guess what? We're not funding this. We're not going to give you your promotions. We're not funding this. As long as this is what the military is all about, we're not funding this. They can't get the money without your votes. So is it time to start withholding money to the federal defense budget?
I think we have to address it in the next National Defense Authorization Act, which we'll be debating in the House committee here in the next 6 weeks or so, Laura. And I will be leading this fight along with a number of my colleagues and adding an amendment that says that we will not fund critical race theory in any of the branches of the military. So we'll be fighting that fight. But your point is an important one. Our tax dollars are going to fund this wacky left-wing ideology that preaches an anti-American view that's counterproductive to the national security of this country. We shouldn't fund it.
We are teaching Americans to hate America. We're teaching men in uniform and women in uniform to hate the country they're serving. It is insane, and it is self-destructive. It's frankly, we're on a suicide mission. Our military is now on a suicide mission if we keep this up. Congressman, thank you for that line of questioning. It was essential for everyone to watch. And for weeks now, there have